This is Please Like What I Like. This week, Joe has picked the 1947 Jacques Tournier noir classic Out of the Past. So if you haven't watched that yet, turn us off, go watch that. Hopefully you know the drill by now. But if you're new, thanks for checking us out. Alright, you ready, Joe?
I'm ready.
I like to think that I do not ask for much. You don't have to sit with me, look at me, we don't have to touch. You don't have to go for a ride on the back of my bike. Please like what I like.
So today we're talking about Out of the Past by Jacques Tournier. Released in 1947, it stars Robert Mitchum, Jane Greer, Ann Miller, and Kirk Douglas, who was then unknown at the time.
Yeah, this is a really early role for him.
Yeah, and you know, I like the difference in his acting style versus Mitchum's acting style. I think it's like pitch perfect casting for
Yeah.
protagonist and villain. The kind of laid back, too cool for school Robert Mitchum and the high strung scenery chewing Kirk Douglas.
Yeah, I mean, we'll probably get into it later, but the acting is particularly good in this movie. Like, I'm not usually a snob about acting, but I feel like everyone in this movie has to do a complex thing where the acting to the other characters like they're feeling something different than they're feeling almost all the time.
Yeah,
And you can kind of read that in their faces, which seems to me like it'd be a hard thing to pull
it's
off.
just a pitch perfect movie when it comes to performances, and I think everybody's chemistry goes like really well. It could be a silent film without title cards, and you could kind of get how people feel about each other just by the presence. Really, just excellent casting in this movie, and I like all the performances. And I knew I wanted to do a noir for my pick, and I went back and forth over what noir to pick. Like, do I want to go with Maltese Falcon or something by Billy Wilder? And ultimately, I settled on this one. I don't know whether or not it's my favorite, but if I could borrow a phrase coined by Lionel Blue, Out of the Past is just like every other noir, only more so. Should we go over the synopsis?
It's up to you.
All right. Out of the Past. A man named Joe Stephanos arrives in a small town called Bridgeport, California, looking for Jeff Bailey, who runs a service station in town. In Marnie's cafe, he overhears that Bailey is fishing with Ann Miller, with whom he is in love. And I'd like
Just gonna say that first exchange. What's the guy that works for Wit named? Is it
Joe Stephanos.
Joe Stephanos
Yep.
or something? Like it kind of sets up who we're supposed to root for really early, like in the contrast between how he talks about and to the deaf kid and how Jeff treats him. You know, it really like
Definitely
lets us know who to root for just by how they treat other people. You know,
and I also love that cafe scene. I like how it kind of just jumps right into this cracking noir dialogue, and everybody's just cracking wise at each other.
Yeah.
And talking super fast, and it just, the movie just gets you right into it.
That's something that I liked more the first time I saw it, but kind of liked less each time I rewatched it.
Really?
I feel like everybody, well, like on the one hand, I think there's a good contrast between the characters from Jeff's old life with working for Wit and his new life in like but we don't get a lot of the people in town. So like once the movie leaves the small town, everybody kind of talks like a wise guy, and it kind of just it got old for me on rewatching, but not the first time I saw it.
I guess I can kind of see that. I just think every line is so like witty and funny. I kind of like it.
Yeah,
as many times as I see
it is clever writing.
Speaking of Joe Stefanos, I really like Paul Valentine's performance, and I thought it was a shame that he didn't really have more of a career. I think he was in like
Yeah.
maybe single-digit films, and I thought he was really good as the slimy Joe Stefanos.
He comes off as a real like toady, like somebody who thinks he deserves to move up in like the mafia or whatever kind of crime organization he's in, but does it by being kind of a suck up, which doesn't engender much respect from Wit.
Yeah.
You know, there's usually at least one of these. It's one thing I wrote down about the opening is when we overhear Marnie's conversation with the cafe owner. I think she's the owner. She might just be the person working there.
Yeah. Well, it's called Marnie's Cafe.
Oh, I didn't read the sign. But yeah, when Marnie is talking to the customers, we hear Jeff introduced as someone who is mooning around to Jim's girl, and I don't think we ever meet Jim or...
Jim is one of the main townspeople. He's the guy who's a cop who is talking to Marnie.
Oh, okay.
That Joe Stefanos overhears.
He's the one that... Does he come back at the end, or...?
Yeah, he's the one that stops Jeff
okay.
at the car and...
Oh. You know, even watching this 3 times, I don't think I put together that was the same guy.
Gotcha.
My bad.
No problem.
Oh, also about the opening thing, I meant to look up how old the miracle worker is, because if it's newer than 1947, this might be the first time some people saw American Sign Language in a movie.
Oh, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah, that was the 60s Miracle Worker, the Helen Keller movie. So yeah, this might be the earliest mainstream motion picture to have American Sign Language in it.
I'll look it up.
And thus it came to pass that Joseph the Wise, moved by insatiable curiosity, traveled to the Golden Library of Quigley, not returning until his mind was sated.
You know what? I can't really tell.
Okay. It's probably not like an article about that specific thing.
It says George W. Veditz is the first person to film ASL sign language, and he died in 1937.
Okay, Veditz's ASL films were short demonstrations of the actual, gestures that make up ASL. So Out of the Past could still be the first time that it appeared on a major motion picture out of the U.S., but, it's a hard thing to look up. But, there's enough time between the early 1900s when Veditz's films were made and the 40s when Out of the Past comes out for there to be something else that has it in it. I don't know. It could be.
Jeff's employee, a deaf mute boy called simply the Kid, interrupts Jeff and Anne at the river to sign to Jeff to get to the service station where Stefanos is waiting to tell him he must get to Lake Tahoe to meet with Wit.
And like Lake Tahoe and New York both being mentioned as places that Jeff has worked for Wit, I think is supposed to suggest to us that he's tied up with the mafia. Cause,
he's a New York City guy and
both areas with mob ties.
Yeah.
But Wit is not a very mob name, is it?
No, it's Wit Sterling. Maybe he's kind of supposed to be like Mo Green or something, like an outsider who works with the mob. But they just describe him as a big-time gambler more than a mob boss. So maybe he's just a gambler who has earned mob connections. But during the scene, I just wanted to point out why Jacques Tournier, is that how you pronounce it?
I think Tournier.
Jacques Tournier. I know it's Americanized to Jack Turner in some of his earlier directorial works, but Jacques Tournier. I just wanted to point out like a little example of why he's one of my favorite directors. I think he is really underrated, but his work never seems like obtrusive or distracting, but he never misses a chance to be striking and to make an impact. And I feel like it goes a long way to making every moment, no matter how small, land in an impactful way. When Jeff and Anne are walking away from the water, the camera moves in a very tight and controlled way for 5 steps before Anne stops to light his cigarette and then moves again. And I think it really helps to isolate the moment when Anne says Jeff has a lot of secrets. It's like this little moment that could have easily been like a throwaway line while 2 characters walk. And the way that
Mhm.
the camera kind of like really tightly and noticeably moves, even though the whole movie it's kind of
Yeah.
invisible. In that scene, it's not invisible.
Mhm.
And I feel like it really helps make that moment seem dense and important, even though it's just one line and 5 steps.
Yeah. Lets us know that that's not just a stray line from the previous conversation because it kind of visually isolates it.
Yeah, it's just, I think, one of those little moments that shows the
Mhm.
difference between a great director and a master. You know, like it's just like this is a guy
Yeah.
who's just got tight control over what he wants to tell in his visual story.
I also watched Cat People in
I
prep for this.
love the Val Lewton
Yeah.
horror movies, Cat People, I Walk with a Zombie, and Leopard Man.
I think I might have seen I Walked with the Zombie a while ago, but I'm not sure if I'm thinking of the right movie. I might be confusing it with White Zombie, which I know I've seen.
Hmm.
But Cat People, I feel like, has similar high contrast lighting that's also in this movie.
Yes.
A lot of hard shadows, you know?
Yeah, I feel like Jacques Turner, especially in those 3 movies, he took like a B movie budget and made something really memorable and great.
Mm. Like, I wasn't crazy about Cat People.
I don't think it's a good script. Like, I think he did what he could with it.
Yeah, I think it's notable how sympathetic it makes that main woman. Like, I think a lot of writers in the 40s would have taken that story and made the fiance the hero, but instead it really takes the side of the woman, even though she's like, an Eastern European immigrant. It seems like something that politically, I think a lot of writers would have played it safe or made her more of a threat instead of a sympathetic character.
Mm.
So I think that's notable, but I also was expecting it to be more like a gothic horror, and it ends up being like 90% a relationship drama
Yeah.
and then 10% spooky at the end.
Yeah, like I said, it's not like the greatest horror story, but I feel like he does a lot of good work with it.
It felt to me like those Twilight Zone episodes where they switch from half hour to an hour.
Yeah.
Like it feels like a quick little story that got stretched out, and so the twist ends up being way, way at the end.
Hmm.
But it does have great lighting, and it's good at making you feel for the main lady.
Hmm.
So it's not a bad movie. I just wasn't as crazy about it as I was with Out of the Past the first time I saw it. Yeah, I'd say Out of the Past. I watched it for the first time way back, I think around 2010, and because I was trying to get into noir at the time, because I realized I had barely seen any, and this was the first one that kind of really drove home what people like about these movies. Like it has
Mhm.
kind of everything you want from a noir, and it's never boring.
It's like when I watched this recently, I'm going to say like 4 or 5 months before this episode, I watched it to show Emily. And
Uh-huh.
I was flabbergasted that it was only 95 minutes. I thought I had convinced her to watch a 2.5 hour movie because I remembered it having
Yeah.
so much story that I was like,
Mm.
yeah, it's a little long, but I think you'll like it. And then I put it in, and it was an hour and 35.
Yeah, it's tight. Gets a lot done.
Yeah, it's dense without being overly complex. And like you get the gist of it in your first watch, but there's so much there.
Hmm. Should we get back to the synopsis?
Back to it, my friend. Jeff resigns to go and invites Anne along for the ride. And on the way, Jeff reveals to Anne all about his past in a flashback. This is the flashback. Bailey, whose real name is revealed as Markham, was a private investigator in New York with his partner, Jack Fisher. A gambling kingpin by the name of Whit Sterling hires Jeff, Solo, to find his girlfriend, who, after she shot and stole $40,000 from Whit, went into hiding.
I feel like when the movie switches to a flashback, that's when the lighting starts to look like a noir.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
everything before that felt really like when I rewatched it for this, I was like, I don't remember this movie being so bright. And then like you get to the flashback and it starts to
Really
look like
makes
a noir.
Yeah, it makes like a genre shift. It's like the first part is
Yeah.
filmed like a small town love story. Like you think it's gonna be about this love triangle between Jeff, Bailey, Jim, and Anne for the first maybe 10 minutes.
Yeah. It really, like, along with the difference in how people talk, like that I brought up before,
Hmm.
the lighting also kind of separates his past life from his new life a lot.
Mhm.
Good, what do you call it? Juxtaposition.
Yeah, but this scene includes probably one of my favorite lines in any movie ever. A guy can't even get shot in his own apartment by a dame without the whole town starting to buzz.
Yeah. I wrote down the following line: "A dame with a rod is like a guy with a knitting needle," because it reminds me of "Town with money is like a donkey with a what is it? A sewing machine or something."
No one knows how he got it. And damned if he knows
Yeah.
how to use
Exactly. But yeah, that's a really like kind of old timey macho comparison though.
Yeah. Jeff agrees after Whit promises that after Jeff finds her, Kathy Moffat wouldn't be harmed. Jeff eventually tails Kathy to Acapulco, where she has been laying low. After finally meeting with her, Jeff, having fallen under the spell of her beauty, begins a relationship with her. And I really feel like it was super believable in this movie that they met and fall in love, because again, I thought their chemistry was both instantaneous and obvious. Like
Yeah.
Mitchum and Greer, like it's very real.
Well, yeah, the scene where he sees her come into the Mexican bar,
Mhm.
and like he seems like struck dumb,
Yeah.
like he's staring at her,
Mhm.
and they don't need to say anything. You can already tell he's not going to do what Whit hired him to do.
Yeah,
At that point.
and like it's such a good subtle acting moment. Just like he's
Mm.
so cucumber cool the whole movie, and then he suddenly lets his little veneer, his little mask down. So good.
Yeah.
Kathy admits to Jeff that she did shoot Whit, but she denies taking the money. Jeff suggests that
Yeah.
they run away together because Whit wouldn't be satisfied without the money.
Hmm. And I feel like Jeff early on suspects that she actually does have the money, and like she ends up actually having it, right?
Yeah.
And like I think it establishes early on that he kind of knows she's never gonna give him the full truth, but he's willing to go along with it because he's like infatuated.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But yeah, it's a good contrast between his relationship with Kathy and his relationship with Anne. Is that like Anne makes it clear that honesty is important to her very early on, and she wants to know everything about his past. Whereas Kathy and Jeff, it's kind of established right away that she can't be fully trusted.
Yeah, like one thing I think this movie does so well for a movie where a bunch of people double cross each other, and I feel like a lot of movies
Mhm.
fail to do this, is no one in this movie is really dumb or naive for what they're doing, and no one has like plot blindness or plot armor.
Mm-hmm.
It's like everybody is kind of suspicious of everybody else, but one person is just slightly ahead of the game or thinking just one step
Yeah.
ahead of the other person, or is just a different kind of duplicitous than the other person expected. And it's not like twists and turns come out of nowhere and the person's like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Everybody's like, oh, so this is how you're double crossing me.
Yeah, that's true.
And I feel like it's like a different kind of flavor than you normally get, and it kind of makes the movie seem a little more grounded.
Like I watched Jackie Brown recently,
Mhm.
and I really liked it. But that's definitely something that's different between that and this. Is like that's another like double crossing crime guy movie. But I feel like Sam Jackson especially comes off really naive in that movie.
Mhm.
Like since you're rooting for Jackie, it's kind of like fun to see him played.
Yeah.
But yeah, this movie definitely doesn't have like a naive fall guy. Everybody's like got their wits about
Yeah,
them.
everybody knows the exact type of people they're dealing with the exception of Anne.
Yeah.
And she's not really in the plot, so like it doesn't really matter.
Mm.
Whit and Stephanos arrive in Acapulco, and Jeff tells them he got there too late, missed her before she hopped on a southbound steamer. Whit tells Jeff to keep following her. And I really like that hotel room scene
With Whit and Jeff?
Whit, Jeff, and Joe.
Yeah.
I feel like that noir style dialogue is so good, and like whenever they're all in a room
Mhm.
together and like just like riffing and like talking shit at each other, it's
Yeah.
just so fucking good. I like the squeaky shoes bit and
Yeah, I wrote something down about that. Like it goes from a jokey way to say that Kathy's a step ahead of him, Like, when he first brings it up, it seems like it's not supposed to be taken literally at all.
Yeah.
Like, she's one step ahead of me, she heard me coming, and this is like the witty way that he explains it is, I thought my shoes
Mhm.
squeaked. And then once the guy shows up with the shoes, suddenly it's supposed to be a literal thing. Like, I literally got new shoes because my shoes
Yeah.
squeaked. It kind of shows that he's trying to think on his feet, and he's slipping up a little bit. And I feel like that scene and the one following where Whit is at the bar and Jeff keeps looking at every woman that
Mhm.
comes in to see if it's Kathy. The tension's super high, and I feel I can tell looking at Kirk Douglas that Whit like knows something's up.
Yeah.
Like, his smile seems so fake in that scene, in both those scenes. Like, he's angry smiling. You know what I mean?
And like when he decides not to go with Jeff and he gets into the cab and pulls away, and it kind of seems like, oh, you know what, never mind, I don't need to blah blah blah. You can kind of tell like he's
Yeah.
not, I don't think he took the bait. I think he's just like trying a different tact, and like I feel like it's portrayed that way. Like I feel like you can get that. It's not like
Yeah.
me making an assumption. I think they really did a good job making it
Mhm.
seem like, well, Whit didn't believe him, but he's going to try to follow him instead of forcing him to play a hand he doesn't want to
Yeah.
play, because it's not the smart move.
Yeah, we don't have to catch him in one line now. We can watch what he does and find out the whole story later,
Mhm.
you know.
And I like the let's go down to the bar, you can cool down while we try to impress each other. It's like, oh, it's snappy fun.
Yeah.
Jeff and Kathy go to San Francisco. Jack Fisher, now working for Whit, spots Jeff at the racetrack. When Jeff arranges to meet Kathy at a cabin, Kathy is tailed by Fisher, and he tries to blackmail them. When the two men fight, Kathy kills Fisher and drives off, leaving behind a bank book showing a balance of $40,000.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's when you
I
find
didn't
out.
make a note on this, but I thought it was interesting that Kathy shot at Whit 4 times and only hit him once, non-fatally,
Mhm.
but was able to thread the needle and kill Fisher while he was scuffling with Jeff in one shot. So, like,
Yeah. Maybe she's been practicing in the
yeah,
meantime, or maybe she was just more nervous during, like, shooting Whit than she is shooting Fisher.
yeah,
When she, like, before we find out she has a gun, when we just know that Jeff and Fisher are fighting, it looks like Kathy is enjoying the fight, but like she has like a wry smile on her face. That, like, it seems like she was trying to hide it and then kind of goes to a full smile. And then we find out it's because she has a gun and she knows she has the upper hand in this situation because Fisher is distracted. So we find out the smile isn't that she's enjoying two men fighting about her, but that she knows she can get this guy out of the way. But it kind of really drives home like what a dangerous woman this
Yeah.
is to get involved with. That she's kind of enjoying the thought of shooting a man. Yeah, and I think like Jeff doesn't get to see the smile, but the look on his face when she shoots Fisher kind of like it's really makes you feel his shock, you know? Like it really dwells on his face for like a few beats before they start talking
Yeah.
again. I'm glad that they spent the time on that, you know? They didn't try to make that seem more snappy.
I feel like this movie kind of lives in Robert Mitchum's like stares,
Yeah.
like his eyes.
Yeah, he's good. That's like another Simpsons reference. That's the moment where you see his heart break in half, because he kind of realizes this isn't like a naive girl that was in over her head. This is someone who's willing to shoot a man just to get him out of the way.
Yeah, like she wasn't accidentally with Sterling. She is
Yeah.
a shark, not a minnow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the point where kind of Jeff stops living in his head about this relationship and starts
Mhm.
thinking more about his own safety. When he goes to San Francisco later in the movie, And he says that he used to live in San Francisco. Is he talking about this place? Because this place is at like near San Francisco, or is he just talking about something in general?
Well, before going to the cabin in the mountain, Jeff and Kathy spent time in San Francisco.
Yeah, okay. But that's what he's
Yeah.
talking about when he says that.
Yeah, I
he
think
used
the
to live
cabin in the
okay.
mountain is probably some mountain town, maybe in the Sierra Madres or something. No, not Sierra Madres in Mexico, Sierra Nevadas.
I feel like Kathy doesn't strike me as someone who would be happy living in a cabin in the middle of the woods.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seems really out of character for her to, go along with that. But I guess she's more interested in staying hidden than being comfortable at that point. But yeah, she seems like out of place there.
Definitely in hiding.
Right. And is this where the flashback ends after the fight?
The flashback ends, and Jeff wants to clean everything up to really start fresh with Anne.
I wrote down something about the fact that this was all a conversation with Anne. I wrote, "Hey, let me reassure you of my intentions to grow old with you by talking at length of my old girlfriend and how down bad I am. I mean, was for her." Yeah. Also, I always thought it was weird, but maybe it's just from a modern standpoint. But it's kind of weird to have somebody ride shotgun to a destination with you that's so far away, just so you can have a conversation during it, and then have her drive home alone afterwards. You know what I mean?
Well,
like if she was staying there with him, this whole trip makes more sense, I think. But although she probably wouldn't be safe there. But yeah, it always seemed kind of weird to me. Although, like I said, I'm thinking from a modern point of view where, like, you're always in contact with people because you have your cell phones on you. But
yeah,
back then, I guess you got to get your conversations where you can.
He wanted, like in case he didn't make it back, because this could have easily been a one-way trip, he wanted to make sure Anne knew the truth, and he didn't want to feel like a liar to Anne.
Yeah, and then, like, when he ends up staying the night at Witt's, and by the way, it's weird that he shows up, they're having breakfast, and then, like, it switches to him getting ready for bed.
But I think it's just because he left Bridgeport in the middle of the night and drove, because he wanted, Witt wanted to have Jeff meet him in Lake Tahoe in the morning. So they left at night. He drove all the way through the night. And then he wanted to sleep. They didn't say it was nighttime or anything.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I think they said the train left in the afternoon, so he was probably sleeping from like 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. or something.
Okay, that explains it. For some reason, that couple scenes at Witt's always seemed odd to me because of those two things. Having Anne drive back on her own, and also going straight to bed when the guys are having breakfast. But yeah, I think I just didn't realize that he was up all night.
Yeah, and I think Anne drove back alone because, like I said, this was literally, in his mind, could have been the very last time he would have gotten the chance to tell Anne the truth. And he couldn't have done it any other way than to have her be there while he drives, because he had a destination and a time to be there.
Yeah, at this point, he knows, like, Witt doesn't have nice intentions for him, and he's kind of going into the lion's den at this point.
Yeah, I don't think you had to say for him. It just doesn't seem like Witt has nice intentions.
Yeah, that's true too. Oh, yeah, when he gets there, he starts writing a letter to Anne. But yeah, like, I guess if he doesn't know if he's coming back, he's probably thought of more stuff he wants to say, or to let her know that this might be the last time that you hear from me, kind of thing. Yeah. Do we ever find out what the letter said, or does that just go by the wayside?
I think it just goes by the wayside.
I don't think we...
Like, Anne probably got it, and the letter just said where he was, where he's going, and for how long he'll be away, because he didn't have that information during the car ride.
When Kathy comes into his room and starts, like, apologizing, basically, and sort of explaining, like, why she's back where she is, do you believe her, or do you think she's checking on him for Witt? Or it seems weird, knowing what we know about Kathy at this point, that she genuinely feels bad and wants to apologize to me.
I think...
but maybe I'm just...
I think that it's none of the above, I think she genuinely doesn't want Jeff to hate her because he's useful to her.
Yeah, yeah, okay. I didn't think of it that way, but yeah, that's probably right.
Mhm.
Also, she knows that they're going to be working on the same sort of mission in a minute, you know?
Well, she's working to get him in trouble, and
Yeah.
he needs to be blinded to that fact, so she needs
Yeah.
to be in his good grace.
That's what I was gonna say. That like if she knows she's going to be in San Francisco trying to make sure that Jeff takes the fall for the tax guy's death. So it's helpful at this point for Jeff to trust her more.
Yeah.
We're on the same page. Okay, moving on.
We'll go to Leonard Eels. A crooked lawyer in San Francisco had assisted Witt in dodging $1 million in taxes and is now blackmailing him.
Yeah, I feel like it would have been more convincing if Witt didn't say, like, Eels saved me $1 million. It's such a round number, you know?
Mhm.
He's probably just, like, keeping it simple, keeping the story simple for Jeff, and it was less of a round number in real life.
Yeah, like, would it matter
but it
to
kinda
Jeff if he saved him $1.34 million? No.
Yeah, exactly. But just hearing such a round number always, like, kind of makes a story sound unbelievable to me. It's kind of like in Birdemic when the guy's like, I sold a bunch of solar panels, a $1 million sale. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But in this instance,
It kind of draws attention to the number.
Witt is in gambling, and sometimes
Mhm.
winnings are round numbers, like $1 million.
Oh, that's true. When Jeff is with the secretary and he's being introduced to Eels, why do you think he so quickly exposes the secretary's lie? Like, as soon as she says, "This is my cousin," like, right afterwards, he's like, "I'm not her cousin." You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, why not play along? Is he just hoping to find out if Eels is part of the setup by, putting him on his back foot by not playing along? Or is he just kind of freaking out at this point?
I think Jeff knows from the beginning that this isn't going to be anywhere near what Witt had told him it was going to be.
Yeah. He knows it's a setup, and we know that, like, partially from how he talks with everybody there, especially the cabbie. He seems to trust the cabbie.
Mhm.
I don't know. It seems like he doesn't have a plan at that point to me. Like he's kind of just decided to stop going along with it
Well,
until he figures out what to do.
the very, very next scene,
Uh-huh.
when he gets into the car and he says that he suspects that it's a frame job. So he already knows before
Yeah.
somewhere around the time when Mita brings him to inside Eel's apartment, which he didn't need to be, and gets him to get a drink, which he didn't need to have, he was probably like, oh, now my fingerprints are all over Witt's enemy's apartment.
Yeah. Well, he says that out loud. He said something about like,
So,
"Oh,
like-
you've invited me over here to get my fingerprints on everything."
Exactly.
But
So
like,
he knows.
I know that he knows it's a frame job. I don't think he knows the finer details. I just think it's odd the way he acts in that scene, and it makes me wonder if he's trying to formulate a plan on his feet, because he's sort of not making a commitment either way onto whether he's playing along or not. Because he doesn't play along with the lie, but he also is where he's supposed to be if it's just taking the fall. You know what I mean?
But I think he's hoping that he can save Eel's life, because it doesn't behoove him for Eel
Okay.
to die, especially at this point. If he can keep Eel alive, then the frame job fails at the beginning, and he doesn't need to think
Yeah.
a way out of it.
True.
Thinking a way out of it is harder than preventing it.
So when the secretary leaves the room and he comes clean about the secretary's lie, he's hoping that that'll make it clear to Eels that things aren't what they seem right now, and maybe he'll get out of Dodge in time.
Yeah, he's just trying to let him know that what Eels thinks is transpiring is not, and he should be on his toes.
But it doesn't end up working because he's dead in the next scene. Something else that kind of struck me as odd that you might be able to explain to me. After they leave the party, well, not the party, it's after they leave Eels' place and the secretary gets told that Eels loves her, we don't see the secretary again. Was she killed also, or does she just know what's up and wants to not be there?
Yeah, she's probably paid to not be around.
Okay. Because it's at that point, Kathy's in the secretary's apartment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she pretends to be her on the phone. So yeah, I guess at that she like the secretary knows that Kathy's gonna play her basically, and she chooses to not be there, to not get further involved with things. Okay, Mina Karstens.
Mita.
That's her name. Nita, not Mina.
Mita. Yeah.
Mita.
I think it's probably short for.
steak.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Yeah, Mita.
Oh, I thought it was Mina.
Mita Carlson. Maybe it's an old name.
Okay.
Maybe it's short for something out of fashion now.
Yeah, it sounds like if it MITA, it sounds like it would be sort of an Americanized.
It's META according to Wikipedia.
META, really?
Yeah, according to Wikipedia.
Mita. I have no idea then.
If it was a D, maybe it would be short for Alameda and just an Americanized pronunciation of it, but it's META.
Yeah. I was thinking MITA, and that the ETA comes from like a diminutive ending.
I don't remember what it says during the credits, but that's what Wikipedia says it's spelled.
Huh. I wrote down about the cab scene made me realize the cars are weirdly quiet in this movie.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, if any of the cars make a sound, it's like quieter than a children's toy.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess that's just because there's going to be a lot of dialogue in the cars. They don't want engine sounds drowning things out.
Yeah.
But when you notice it, it feels odd.
A loud silence. Yeah, I also like the wonderful noir jib-jabbing in the cab when he was like, I think I'm in a frame. Don't know, all I see is the frame. Going in there to look at the picture. I like that line.
Yeah. That's another one where like the sort of what's it called when you use words that aren't to be taken literally. The figurative language kind of gets expanded on in a similar way to the earlier shoe squeaking conversation. It's something that Jeff is good at.
It's just it's really smart writing.
Very, very witty. Oh, and the cab guy, he kind of stands out to me as like a normal looking guy surrounded in a movie filled with movie star people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like everybody else is like a movie star or model gorgeous, and the cab guy is just looks like somebody's dad.
Where you going, Mac?
Yeah. Like he's not an ugly guy. I don't want to call him ugly.
Yeah,
he just doesn't look like a movie star where everybody else does.
He's unshaven.
Yeah.
After they leave, Jeff tails Mita, then returns to Eel's apartment to find him dead. Jeff hides the body. Back at Mita's apartment, Jeff overhears Kathy arranging for the discovery of the body. And when the body isn't found, she believes Eels has escaped. Jeff confronts her, and Kathy reveals that she gave Whit a signed affidavit swearing that Jeff killed Jack Fisher. She says they can start all over again, and they share a kiss. Jeff leaves, and Stephanos arrives to confirm he killed Eels. And like after that scene, when Jeff goes to get the briefcase with the affidavit, I could watch that scene over and over again on a loop for hours. Like him walking up the stairs, it looks perfect, it's beautiful, it's such cool direction, the dialogue's great. He just like whops the guy in the face and like leaves, and like it's just a minute of perfect movie making. I love it. It's like the scenes of him walking up and down the stairs are so excellently framed and they look great.
He seems very like legit freaked out from the point that he sees Eels' body onward. Like it really brings the tension up just watching how he moves and like how his face looks.
He spends the whole movie being so cool and relaxed, and from that moment on, you get immediately absorbed into the tension that he feels.
Yeah,
it's very easy to empathize with, and it's directed and acted so well.
Yeah, those scenes make me anxious.
Yeah, the whole movie moves at a completely different pace. It's edited quicker. He moves quicker, like walking wise. He kind of speed walks instead of his laconic kind of swagger. The dialogue seems even quicker, and it's just really good. As Jeff consigns the tax papers to a delivery service, he is captured by Whit's henchman and Joe Stephanos. Without implicating Kathy, Jeff offers to exchange the incriminating tax records for the affidavit. When Kathy and Mita arrive at Eel's apartment to get the affidavit, the police are already there, so they phone Whit. Jeff, now wanted for the murders of both Fisher and Eagles, is on the run, and police expect him to return to Bridgeport. Stephanos, directed by Kathy, follows the kid to the gorge where Jeff is hiding out. The kid sees Stephanos about to take a shot at Jeff, and with his fishing pole manages to hook his coat and pull him off balance to make him fall to his death. Jeff returns to Whit to tell him about Stephanos' death, and Kathy's double cross. He suggests making Stephanos' death look like a suicide caused by the guilt murdering Eels. He promises Whit that he'll return the records if Whit agrees to destroy Kathy's affidavit and hands her over to the police for Fisher's death. Whit accepts, telling Kathy he'll shoot her if she doesn't cooperate. Jeff meets Anne in the woods and updates her on his side of the story. She believes him, but tells him to be absolutely sure about what it is he wants, and she will wait for him. Jeff discovers Kathy has killed Whit, and she gives Jeff a choice: run away with her, or take the blame for all 3 murders. He dials the phone while she's upstairs. They leave in a car with Jeff driving until they come upon a police roadblock. Kathy, realizing Jeff double-crossed her, shoots him in the stomach before firing at the cops, who return fire with a hail of machine gun fire, killing Kathy and riddling the car with bullets. Back in Bridgeport, Anne asks the kid if Jeff was going to run away with Kathy. The kid decides to hide the truth from Anne and nods yes. Anne gets into Jim's car, and as they ride off together, the kid smiles and salutes Jeff Bailey's name in the service station. And thus ends Out of the Past. So I know you'd seen it before, but did watching it with a more analyzing eye make it better for you, worse for you, or do you enjoy it pretty much the same as you always have?
The first time I saw it, I was like, this movie's perfect. Watching it now, I noticed more about how it was shot than I did before, and that is really impressive. The acting's more impressive now that I have seen more stuff. But for some reason, the dialogue didn't do it for me as much the rewatches. Like I said, it's very witty, but that kind of dulls my appreciation for it after so long of all the characters having the perfect line. You know what I mean?
I get it.
Yeah,
I think,
but I still like it a lot. I just
yeah.
It just went from 100% to 90%. You know, I mean,
I get that.
But yeah, I appreciated the lighting and composition more now than I did back then. Back then, I was just focused on the story. And yeah, I've never been picky about acting. Some people complain about the acting in David Lynch movies, and it's never bothered me. But I feel like I notice more now that this is particularly well acted, just because, like I said, the emotions are complex in a lot of scenes, and you can kind of get from people's faces during the scene that they're not actually feeling the way they want the other characters to think they feel.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I can dig. Oh, speaking of David Lynch, Jane Greer was in Twin Peaks for 1 episode. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
She was who's Heather Graham's character, Annie?
Yeah.
She was Annie's mom.
Oh, okay.
The food critic that the diner's worried about.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think she's also been in Columbo. So I've seen her as an older woman more than I've seen her as a younger woman, I think.
That's fun. Yeah, I think she's ethereal in this.
She's striking.
Beautiful. Yes.
And she's a good contrast with Anne, because I feel like Anne you can kind of buy as a small town girl, but Kathy seems out of anybody's league. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I have a weird question.
Okay.
All right, I try actually. All right, I don't know how to present this. All right, I'm just gonna come out and say it. I'm wondering if you agree. I think that Whit wants to fuck Jeff. I think he's got the hots for Jeff and is not equipped to deal with that because it's the 40s and Jeff kind of works for him. So he kind of takes it out on him. But I think the way that he looks at him, he's trying to, it seems like he's kind of trying to get, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
I know what you're trying to say, I think.
I think he looks at him like he wants him and knows he can't have him.
I think we'd have to read.
I think that's part of why he's kind of got it out for him. Like, he wants him in his circle at the beginning. Like, he wants to kind of possess him in some ways, and that's why he doesn't, like, let him go, I think. You know? Like, he wants to either possess him in some way, or nobody can have him. And you know what I mean? But I think I'm just reading a lot into looks, though.
I think that could also just be read as a man who is habitually used to getting every single thing he wants.
Yeah, well, that's part of what I mean.
And Jeff is a character who specifically doesn't give people what they want in any way, shape, or form. Like, at the very, very end, Jim stops Jeff from getting into his car and pretty much tells him, like, hey, look, if you leave Anne alone, I won't call the cops if you just get out of here or whatever. And Jeff's already about to run away. And his response could have literally just been, thank you so much, and lied to him. But he doesn't want to feel like he owes Jim a favor, so he's pretty much like, call a cop, you bitch, and leaves. Like, he doesn't give anybody what they want.
Yeah.
And I think that is a large part of their dynamic, is a person who is used to being, you know, showered with what he wants, and somebody who is permanently withholding what he thinks people want from him that he doesn't want to give. Unstoppable force and immovable object kind of dynamic.
Right. I tried looking up if there was slash fiction about this movie, because that would confirm that other people have read into this the same way I did. I didn't find anything, but it could just be that it's an older movie and people only really write fan fiction about current stuff. But yeah, because searching for out of the past fan fiction gets you Star Trek fan fiction for some reason. But yeah, okay. I just wondering. I think that what you're saying and what I'm saying don't, you can kind of read them the same way, though.
Yeah, definitely.
I think, like, it might not be sexual, but there's definitely a possession thing going on.
He wants Jeff to have some sort of fealty towards him.
Exactly. Wants him to bend the knee. Yeah.
And hey, that can be a little sexual.
Exactly. It's a dominance thing, you know.
Even if it's not. Yeah. So, before I get into, I have some stuff on noir, but before that, I have some little anecdotes specific to the movie that I'd like to talk about.
Okay.
This movie had a fair amount of interesting little tidbits, and I've got two of them here. Before filming began, Mitchum, a studio accountant, and an executive's assistant were all in a plane crash when the plane's brakes didn't work, and it went through a fence, over a ditch, and through an outhouse before stopping after landing in Bridgeport, California. Robert Mitchum was conscious, but the other two passengers were unconscious, and Mitchum just dusted off his clothes and thumbed a ride into town to start filming.
Wow.
He just, like a cartoon character, got out of a crashed plane and got to his job. I'd take the day off, man.
Were the other two okay, or was
they were unconscious? The pilot and Mitchum were fine. Well, like, not fine. They were in a plane crash, but the studio accountant and executive's assistant were just knocked unconscious. But no, it didn't say like afterwards they were hospitalized or anything. But like, it wasn't crashed from the air. It was a downed plane that just rolled through a bunch of shit.
Oh, okay. I misunderstood.
The brakes didn't work. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's faster and probably worse than a car crash through a fence, outhouse, and ditch.
I wonder if he was like in shock from the situation and just like his subconscious knew he had to be somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like it's a crazy story.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Mitchum told Ebert that he smoked so much on set that when the camera was rolling and Kirk Douglas offered him the pack and asked cigarette, Mitchum realized he had already been carrying a cigarette onto the scene, held up his fingers, and replied, smoking. Yeah. His improvisation saved the take and made it into the film. And before I found out that tidbit, I had wrote that scene down as an example of something smooth and cool that Mitchum's character did, and it turned out Mitchum, the real person, did something smooth and cool.
Mm. This movie, like, I've never been a smoker. Like, I occasionally will bum a cigarette if I'm very drunk and people around me are smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only time I've ever really smoked. But this movie makes smoking look so cool.
I know. That's the thing about noir, man.
Yeah.
It's just all smoking.
But, like, usually I feel like in a lot of noir movies, it just kind of becomes part of the atmosphere and you don't really notice the characters smoking as much.
Mhm.
But I don't know, it just like accentuates the dialogue in this movie. And you're like, man, whenever I say something cool, it would be cooler if I was smoking.
And like there's scenes that are like really punctuated by the
Yeah.
smoking too. Like after Mitchum knocks out the guy and steals the briefcase, instead of lighting his own cigarette with a match, he lights the other guy's cigarette with his own lighter, and it's kind of like,
Yeah.
it's like spitting on a body,
Yeah. Oh, that's kind of a funny coincidence that this movie and the next movie we're doing both have a crazy amount of smoking,
Yeah, that is true. But another little fact: this movie is known in the UK by the name of the book on which it's based, and one of the later lines of the movie, "Hang my gallows high."
Okay.
But in the U.S., it was named after a line in the song used as background music throughout.
Oh, okay.
From out of the past, where forgotten things belong, you keep coming back like a song.
Mm.
The song is "You Keep Coming Back Like a Song."
Yeah, that fits the plot really well.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought it was just called that because, this is a movie about contrast between his past life and his new life coming into conflict with each other. But, yeah, it kind of adds to it if it's also a line in the song they use. Oh, I have a question I don't expect you to have the answer to, but I'll ask it anyway.
I got all the answers, baby. I'm just kidding. I really don't. Don't count on that.
When they switched to Acapulco, I was wondering if, like, the Mexican street and storefronts that you see are built on a soundstage or if they actually went to Mexico. And I'm leaning towards soundstage because it looks constructed to me, but it could just be the way the buildings look.
I think it is a soundstage because San Francisco was a soundstage, and that would be way easier to film.
It was.
Because the Mason building
the outside
has an upside down S, and in the in like something I read, the Mason building was a set, like a backlot building. So there are other movies with a misspelt building in it.
Oh, there's like a dedicated soundstage. They didn't have to build one for this.
Yeah.
Like there was already a soundstage that looked like San Francisco.
Oh yeah. Next, when you come to LA, we're gonna go to Universal. I'll take you on the lot tour. It's really cool. You go through a bunch of different cities. It's great. It's the best part of Universal.
The scene. I think there's multiple scenes actually, but in San Francisco, it's convincing in the way that like the steps up to the buildings aren't parallel with the ground because the ground is so steep.
I'd imagine some of the movie could be filmed in San Francisco. I just know that parts of it were backlot. Because, like I said, Bridgeport, California, they filmed on location because that's where the plane crash was.
Like if you wanted to build a convincing San Francisco street on a soundstage, though, that's how you do it. You make it look really hilly because everybody knows that about San Francisco. But there's also that shot where he gets out of the car and you see the Golden Gate Bridge. Is that a painting?
No, I think some of it.
I'm sorry, I'm getting like worked up about this. I just was convinced,
Just some of it. Like I'm just saying, some of it is soundstage and some of it is soundstage. Yeah.
Okay.
But also, like it wouldn't be that difficult. Universal is built on a mountain.
Oh.
I don't know where RKO's sound stages are. They could also, because, I live in Burbank and across the mountain is Hollywood. So, like, all the studios are on either side of a mountain and some of them go up the mountain. Like, Universal goes up the mountain.
I'm going to look up real quick if I can find out where RKO's sound stages were.
RKO went out of business in, like, the 50s. Or were bought by somebody or merged with somebody.
It was in Culver City?
Culver City, that's pretty far south. That's probably where Sony is now or something.
Oh, it says it's now Paramount.
Paramount, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some studios are south of Hollywood. Some studios are in Burbank, and a few studios are in Hollywood.
Mm. I wonder if Paramount is called that because they operated around the mountains. It's probably just because Paramount means like the highest point of something, right? Like it's
Yeah.
like very important. It basically means, right?
Mhm.
I already talked about how the actors are good at complex
Mhm.
emotions and stuff, but I specifically wrote down that Douglas as Wit keeps somehow angry smiling.
That's just Kirk Douglas's face. That's how he looks in everything, man.
I don't know. I don't think he's like that in Spartacus. Spartacus, he does. I
He's
don't think
not, but do you remember the critic where they talked about Spartacus, and every time you saw Kirk Douglas,
Yeah.
he's a high energy guy. So I think that he
Yeah.
just always looks like
He kind of looks constipated in his resting
like
face.
he might maybe he did
but
barbiturates or something. He always looks like he's chewing his own teeth.
is that a side effect of barbiturates?
I could have the drug wrong, but maybe it's amphetamines or something.
Yeah, I think uppers definitely make you do weird things with your mouth because you can't sit still.
Hmm.
Barbiturates are like alcohol, I think, but more. Yeah, that's all I've got about the movie. Do you have a prepared thing about noir?
Film noir was first coined in 1946 by French critic Nino Frank, possibly in reference to the Série Noire publishing imprint, a French publishing imprint which specialized in hard-boiled detective stories, although the term wasn't really applied stateside until the 1970s.
Wow, really?
And I wrote in parentheses that it's perfectly possible that Humphrey Bogart had never said the words film noir because he died before the 70s.
Wow, that's surprising to me that we didn't have the word for it when it was like in its golden age.
It just
kinda,
wasn't widely applied.
Ah,
It's like an afterthought. But yeah, in 1946, the French were like, oh, that's a film noir. And I think they might have been talking about it in a derisive way, which prevented the United States from applying the same terminology. But this is all me talking, 80 years later and speculating. But I think like they were talking like Série Noire was like like you know how Giallo.
like pulp.
Yeah, it's like pulp. Like
Yeah, I was about to like say that like that word that like Giallo comes from this is also a derisive name that kind of got embraced. Also punk rock.
Yeah, an altogether tough to nail down term with an elusive characterization. There isn't even a consensus as to whether it is a genre or a filmmaking style. Like pornography, it has a real you'll know it when you see it mystique about it.
Yeah, because you're talking about the how the term is kind of nebulous, like it's not really nailed down what it's referring to. And I feel like when people hear noir, they specifically think like crime drama. But then there's also stuff like I would call Sweet Smell of Success.
Oh, that's a cracking
noir movie, but it's really
it's one of my
I love
favorites.
that.
I thought about that as
But
well, but it was such an outlier that I didn't think it
Uh-huh.
would be a good first film noir to do. But that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's definitely like visually a noir movie, and like the tension's kind of similar at certain points, but it's not a detective story, you know. And also, like I think people like Casablanca, you see sometimes hear referred to as a noir. I don't know if I would call it a noir, but it's definitely some scenes do look like a noir movie, and that's also not a detective story.
There are
I mean,
people
that's more
kind of
a-
capering about.
Yeah.
There is the whole a passport.
It's like the Nazi
Yeah.
detectives are on their trail. But it's not a movie where a crime needs to be seen through really in the. I guess it does. I don't know. You've seen Casablanca, right?
One of my favorites. Yeah, I took mom and dad to see it in a rooftop in LA when they were visiting one time.
Yeah, I like
It was
Casablanca.
great experience.
It's one of those movies that deserves the reputation it's got. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, it's perfect. Yeah. Before the term found wide use, most of today's film noirs were simply called melodramas.
Although melodrama is also kind of a nebulous term. Like it originally described musicals. Like that's where the term comes from. It's like melody and drama together. And then it came to be associated more with like exaggerated emotional acting.
Yeah,
you know?
at the Douglas Sirk era.
Yeah. So noirs back before the term was popularized were kind of lumped in with those kind of movies.
Yeah, they were all just kind of like, oh, that's a melodrama.
Okay.
They usually adhere to a visual
Mm.
style emphasized by low-key lighting and Baroque chiaroscuro-infused compositions. Fritz Lang and Michael Curtis, among others, brought distinctly European film styles with them when they came. Fritz Lang's N, made in Germany, and Curtis's Private Detective 62 are considered proto-noirs, which provide a kind of blueprint for the noirs of the 40s and beyond.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Joseph von Sternberg, aside from his own proto-noir films of the 1930s, made 1927's Underworld,
Mm.
which was responsible for the crime drama explosion in popularity in the decades to come, which really helped shape what noir would become.
Have you seen Hitchcock's Notorious?
Oh yeah,
Yeah. Would you call that a noir as well, or is it just like
No,
a
it's
crime drama?
yeah.
That's noir.
I love that movie. I was gonna pick that as a movie in the future. I was thinking either that or Strangers on a Train.
That's another movie that I would like to rewatch because I saw it when I didn't know much about movies.
We should
yet,
do that
you know?
sometime down the line. Yeah, we'll do it in the far future because we just did a
Mhm.
noir, but maybe like 10 plus episodes. I'm sure we'll think about it. Some of the cinematographers who are considered key to influencing film noir's aesthetics are Greg Toland, Arthur Edison, and Out of the Past's own Nicholas Musaraka,
Ah.
who was DP on the first official entry in the noir canon 1940's Stranger on the Third Floor. I actually haven't seen that movie.
What's the Out of the Past guy's name? Muska?
Nicholas Musaraka.
Musara. Has he worked?
Yeah, he also is the cinematographer on Cat People.
That's what I was gonna ask.
I Walked with a Zombie,
Mm.
Leopard Man,
Mm.
and a few others. But yeah, he was actually the cinematographer on the like what most people will commonly agree is the first canonical film noir.
Which movie was that?
Stranger on the
Stranger
Third
on
Floor.
the Third Floor. So the visual similarity between Cat People and Out of the Past might be more due to him than Tournier.
Yeah. Yeah, and they worked together a
Mm.
lot. I think this might be the last time they worked together, but they worked together like 6 or 7 times. The literary sources of a lot of the key film noirs were the works of Dashiell Hammett,
Mm.
James M. Cain, and Raymond Chandler, who also wrote the script for the screen adaptation of Patricia Highsmith's Strangers on a Train for Hitchcock. So I thought it was interesting that Raymond Chandler,
okay.
aside from being a novelist, also wrote a screenplay.
He also adapted now.
Yeah.
It's
I
interesting.
put it down here. Honorable mention to Mickey Spillane as a literary figure in film noir, but he's kind of the carousel coming back around, so to speak. He was writing novels that were inspired by film noirs that eventually became film
okay.
noirs. So
Dashiell Hammett is a name I've definitely seen in a lot of like based on the book by Dashiell Hammett in like a lot of movies.
I have a bunch of his on my Audible. I like to read like postmodernism and modernism, but I like to listen to mysteries. I feel like I can listen to a mystery a day and have a good time with it.
Yeah. Well, also like a mystery is something that you don't necessarily want to take your time on because it's more fun to feel the like twists and turns of the story.
Yeah.
Whereas, so it's a good choice to listen to instead of slowly pour over.
I a couple years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, I read Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. You know what? I probably read it way longer ago. I think that movie came out in like 2013, and I read it pretty much immediately after that. So probably 10, 11 years ago now.
Yeah, I think it came out while Obama was president.
Yeah, and I thought it was a great book, but like I didn't really open up and go through the rest of John Le Carre's Le Carre or Le Carre, do you know?
I think
Le Carre.
Carre.
I didn't go through the rest of his stuff, and then one day I decided to revisit it, and I listened to it, and I had such a much better time with it that I ended up going and getting the entire George Smiley series on Audible and then chewed through them in a week's time. And then he died 3 days after I finished the last George Smiley book.
Yeah, weird coincidence.
Yeah.
Did you listen to those or read them?
Yeah, I listened to all of them, but I've only read the Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Yeah, I recently watched, what's it called? The Dead of Winter, which is based, I think, on a Dashiell Hammett book.
We spoke about Dashiell Hammett a little earlier in our podcast.
Yeah?
I cannot for the life of me remember why or what movie it was, but I remember specifically talking about, it was Django. Django is loosely based off of
Oh,
Fistful of Dollars, which is loosely
wow.
based off of Yojimbo, which is loosely based off of two
Yeah.
novels by Dashiell Hammett.
Yeah.
Red
Okay.
Harvest is one of them.
Give us, like, if this was somebody's first noir and they really liked it, what's like your big three or something that you'd send them looking at?
That's a big ask to whittle down my
Big
like
ask.
it's one of
I'm
my
sorry.
favorite genres of story. I just like mysteries and I like detective stories and I
Okay.
like things that twist and turn. And so I have a huge list of noirs I love, but if I were to whittle it down to a few,
You'd probably feel like you were leaving a bunch out.
that a few you have to see would be
Uh-huh.
we'd go with the John Huston. Let's go with Maltese Falcon. If
Okay.
you're gonna go with the Billy Wilder, Double Indemnity, or Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, I like both of those a lot.
Fritz Lang did Scarlet Street, The Big Heat, and he did a lot. Like anything by Fritz Lang's gonna be good, but those are probably my two favorites. Human Desires, I think it was called. The Woman in the Window. Fritz Lang did a lot of great ones. He's great.
Yeah.
And then Detours are really good. Like it's like a low budget poverty road, like D grade movie that director Edgar Ulmer, who mostly does horror and sci-fi movies, really managed to turn into a fantastic like 70-minute thriller. So I'd check out Detour. And then Jacques Turner also directed Nightfall, which is a really good snowy noir. And he directed 1957's Night of the Demon, which is a horror movie that has all of the earmarks of a film noir.
Okay.
It's like a guy trying to figure out what happened to his friend, and a black magic guy gets roped into the story, and there's a demon. It's awesome. Just watch it. It's called Night of the Demon.
Not to be confused
It's
with
great.
Night of the Demons, plural.
Yes. This is a 1957 movie. But it's more horror than noir, but I think it counts. And I think that Orson Welles directed a couple good noirs in The Lady from Shanghai and A Touch of Evil.
Yeah.
I think those are pretty unmissable film noirs, in my opinion.
Yeah, I liked both of those.
And then, have you ever seen the movie Leave Her to Heaven?
I don't think so.
It is a Technicolor movie, and it seems like if you read the back, you'd think it would be a Douglas Sirk melodrama, but it really unfolds like a noir, and it is about a very, very selfish and duplicitous woman.
Okay.
So those are some film noirs I'd recommend. Then there's plenty of noirs that came later, the neo-noirs. And
where would you... Is there like a hard line between when something's a noir and when something's a neo-noir? Or is it...
There wasn't even people can't even agree on what a film noir is. I'd say that a lot of people mark the like noir canon as starting with Stranger on the Third Floor in 1940 and ending with Touch of Evil in 1957.
Oh, that's earlier than I would have thought. I would have thought maybe like New Hollywood type stuff in the 70s is where something would be neo, and anything before that could qualify.
I'm pretty sure it's like open to interpretation. Like I think critics probably and film scholars also disagree about those all the time.
Because I feel like I've seen 60s noir movies that don't seem stylistically that different from the earlier stuff as much as stuff made in the 70s and 80s do. Although it's hard to remember. I have a hard time remembering when things came out, so...
And Stanley Kubrick also made one of the best film noirs in The Killing in 1956. That's another one I'd recommend.
Yeah.
really great caper film with some of the best noir cinematography and a real everybody loses story.
You'd think like anything Kubrick made would be like really well trod ground, but I feel like people kind of sleep on his real early stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His black and white cinematography is great. My copy of The Killing came with his first movie called Killer's Kiss, and
Oh.
also a film noir.
Huh.
And it's like maybe 65 minutes, but it's got some of the best looking black and white
Oh.
photography I've ever seen.
I don't think I've even heard of that one.
When you come out, I gotta show you a bunch of movies that are hard to find
Mm.
anywhere but my collection.
What's the one with the it's like 3 army men that are lost and they like
Is that Fear and Desire?
I think
or
so.
Is that the other? There's two. There's Fear and Desire and
it's definitely got and in the middle. It's like noun and noun.
Paths to Glory, and I haven't seen either of them, to be honest.
Fear and Desire is what I'm thinking of. But that's
Yeah.
another really early Kubrick one that I'm glad I checked out. It's like I feel like nobody talks about it.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
I don't know. Maybe I'll pick it at some point in the future
Okay.
because that's like it's kind of like one of those movies that I like where it's very like contained and simple, kind of like Tape, where it's just 3 people talking in a room. Like a lot of this movie is just the 3 army guys arguing about what to do. I think they're lost, and like, but it gets really tense and emotional. Anyway, sorry, that was a bit of a tangent.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, that's also a really stark black and white movie. I wouldn't call it a noir, but it's you can kind of see noir's influence on Kubrick in his black and white stuff. There's also like shots in Doctor Strangelove that you can kind of see that noir influence.
Yeah.
I mentioned Sweet Smell of Success. Was that am I saying that? Is it just Smell of Success?
Yeah,
or is it
the Sweet Smell of Success.
Yeah, that's I would recommend that. And The Third Man.
It's Burt Lancaster, right?
Oh, The Sweet Smell of Success. I think so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The Third Man is one of my favorites. I love that zither score.
Yeah, that's a really really unique movie.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't make it somebody's first noir because it's not that representative of the genre, but
Yeah, like I wanted to pick Sunset Boulevard, but I feel like that's not indicative of a noir either.
I like that movie a lot too. I could yeah.
Like my first film noir, I wanted to have like every single earmark of the noir and like it be a very like good first noir to watch because it's such a good example of the genre and it doesn't really deviate, but it still surprises.
Yeah, like I said, this is definitely a good introduction to the genre. It does everything that you want a noir movie to do, and it does it really well. And it never demands so much of the viewer that some viewers wouldn't be able to appreciate it. I feel like anybody would get something out of this movie.
Another noir I'd recommend is Elevator to the Gallows by Louis Malle, the French film.
Elevator to the Gallows. Huh?
Oh yeah, it's great. And the whole score was improvised by the Miles Davis Quintet.
Oh, that's that movie.
One take after watching the movie once. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I think that's on my list. I definitely want to check it out. Because I had heard about the Miles Davis thing, and I wanted to see it for that reason. But now
it's worth watching. Otherwise, I feel like the director kind of grew after that movie. It's his first movie, but but I feel like it's worthwhile, and it's a great movie anyway.
Are there any other like French noirs that you'd recommend?
Rafifi, does that count?
I'm not familiar with it.
I'd recommend Rafifi by
Jules Dassin, I think, or Dassin. He also did a movie I liked called Naked City, so I'd also recommend that. But Naked City, I think he did in the U.S.
But it's a good one. It's got like a half an hour jewel heist scene where the alarm is sound triggered, and it's super tense for like a long time.
Yeah, it's a mark of a good noir where it builds tension well and you remember it emotionally after you've seen it,
I think Alphaville counts.
Yeah, Alphaville's
a good French noir.
That's also one that you wouldn't want somebody to see as their first noir because it's like such a weird movie.
I wouldn't recommend it to anyone as their first film noir, their first Goddard, or their first French movie.
It was my first Goddard.
That movie is, yeah.
Yeah, I saw that when I was a teenager. I just kind of happened to catch it on like PBS because I was having trouble sleeping or something, and I loved how weird it was, and I didn't even hear
Yeah,
the
it's
director's name until years later.
it's a very strange movie. I
Yeah.
love it though. Some Japanese film noirs, Akira Kurosawa's High and Low,
Mm-hmm.
and the Bad Sleep Well.
Mm-hmm. What'd you call what's that Ozu silent one? Dragnet Girl? Is that
Dragnet Girl.
Would you call that a noir?
That might be like a
proto
that
noir?
might be a proto noir. Yeah. It's a crime film at least.
But it definitely has
but-
like starker lighting than most of Ozu's stuff. Makes it feel like it belongs with the noir
Starker
tradition.
for sure.
Yeah.
And then there's Seijun Suzuki.
Yeah.
He did a whole mess. Like all of his
Nikatsu.
Yakuza movies, especially his black and white ones, are
Yeah.
just dripping with noir iconography
Yeah.
and references to American noir movies, like Take Aim at the Police Van.
Yep. That's what I was gonna say. That one, Take Aim at the Police Van, but also what's it called? Things Get Worse or something like that. What was that one? It's like a high school delinquent movie.
Editing Michael here. It was actually called Everything Goes Wrong. I was kind of close.
But he has a lot of good film noirs. I'd just look up Seijun Suzuki, and
Yeah.
I wouldn't pick just one. I think they're all cracking noirs.
Yeah, I've never seen anything of his that I thought was a bad movie. There were at least two that I remember disliking, but not.
Just not to your taste.
Yeah, there's two that like sexual assault factored really
Mhm.
largely in the film that made it unpleasant to sit
Yeah.
through, but still a well put together movie.
Yeah, there was like the one about the woman who was in like the Japanese army camp as a
Yeah.
prostitute during the Chinese
Yeah,
war.
I think that's
like
just Tale of a Prostitute.
hard to watch.
Yeah.
And then I think Gate of Flesh.
That's the other one. Yeah, those are the exact two I was
hard
thinking of.
to watch.
Yep.
Yeah, I've seen his whole filmography. Those two stand out
Oh, okay.
as ones I don't want to rewatch. He's one of my favorite unsung heroes. Like I think he doesn't get talked about enough.
Yeah, that's true. You hear about Ozu and Kurosawa a lot. You don't hear nearly as much Suzuki.
And he had a
recommendations.
masterful touch.
He's a very unique and fun
Yeah.
director. Yeah, one of those directors that has their own thing
Mhm.
that you get out of their movies that no other director gives you. You know.
Yeah. It's like a Lagavulin scotch. It's got a very strong taste, but once you get used to it, nothing tastes quite like it.
Yeah. Do you want to say anything about neo noir? Like, are there any like 80s and 90s noir movies that stand out in your memory?
I'm probably gonna pick a movie in the near future that would cover that. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
a lot of neo noirs, and I think I'm gonna treat it as a separate genre for this instance.
Mm.
Okay, I think I'm ready to wrap it up, but I want to wrap it up with this. Another great
Oh,
line,
okay.
pair of lines. I don't want to die. Neither do I, baby. But if I have to, I'm gonna die last.
Yeah, that is a good line.
But he doesn't. Kathy dies last. So he's a fucking liar.
Well, he doesn't know he's in a movie.
That's why I give Out of the Past 1 star.
1 star. People shouldn't say things they're gonna do if they're not gonna do it.
It's frankly irresponsible to present this to the viewer. There are lies within it. So what's next, Michael?
Okay, next movie. Yeah, Joe had recently mentioned that he watched this movie, and I was like, I want to talk about that movie. Wong Kar Wai's Happy Together. I think it's a 90s movie. I didn't write down the year yet.
1997.
1997. Yeah, I don't want to give too much away. If
lovemaking scenes between two gay men make you uncomfortable,
you might want to skip it. You're going to be missing a good movie. You don't see full Wang, I don't think, but you do see two men kissing and humping and stuff.
But I say you grin and bear it and be a man or woman.
Yeah, exactly. If you're comfortable in your sexuality, then you should be able to deal with it.
And it's available to watch on HBOmax, the Criterion Channel, and something called Viki Rakuten, which I'm unfamiliar with.
Rakuten, I think, is like Roku, I think. Yeah, I won't say too much about what Happy Together is about. Wong Kar Wai, if his name sounds familiar, you might have heard of, what's it called?
Chungking Express.
Chungking Express.
In the Mood for Love.
And In the Mood for Love, which we might end up doing later, because that's wonderful.
I will definitely do it. It's in a top 5 for me.
Yeah. Happy Together is not, like, as well known as those two, but I like it a lot, and I think it's an interesting movie, and I think we'll have fun talking about it. So go check it out.
I think it is the most stylistically bold movie of a bold stylist.
There are decisions made.
Yeah.